All right, let's flip to one of your favorite subjects and mine, especially today, which is Bitcoin. So, we're recording this, and as of this moment, Bitcoin has reached $67,000. It's at a real all-time high. I remember investing at the last cycle in the early 60s, taking a loss when it hit 30 because there's no wash laws. You can sell it and buy it.
I bought a bunch on margin, so I go tumbling down very badly.
I remember when you told me you borrowed against the house. I'm sure you're feeling a lot better right now.
I bought more at the bottom, and then luckily Lily was not happy. Luckily now things are looking much better. I'm of the $1 million quasi-maximalist camp. I don't see how it doesn't get to $1 million of Bitcoin.
I agree. Let's take a look at last call and when it hit 64,000.
Hi, everybody. Good evening here. Good afternoon out west. I'm Brian Sullivan. All that and more coming up over the hour. But first up on last call, the Bitcoin breakout. It boomed today. Bitcoin briefly hitting 64,000 for the first time in more than 2 years. Below that right now, but Bitcoin has been absolutely ripping the past couple of months, more than doubling just since September.
I'm going to keep it there. On every conversation we've had over the last month in any audience, you're going, buy Bitcoin. And I've been saying, yes, of course. And I've got Mike Saylor coming. He's going to spend a couple hours with us during the Abundance Summit.
Can't wait. I mean, his ability to articulate the underlying rationale for Bitcoin makes me believe he is an AI.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he was a fraternity brother, college roommate with me at MIT and along with Dave Blunden, and amazing. What's funny is there is a, when he's with us on stage, I'll show this, there is a front page where it's showing Michael Saylor loses $6 billion in one day. This was an accounting era on MicroStrategies back in like 2000. And then that day, on this last call, he made $700 million on Bitcoin in one day. 700 million, yeah. So
you know what my favorite stat is?
The guy bets a lot.
Well, over the last year, over the last 5 years, MicroStrategy's stock has done better than NVIDIA.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
For one reason.
It's basically a tracking stock for Bitcoin, and I totally applaud what he's done.
Exactly. I met one of his board members. We had dinner last week, and I was saying, okay, let me get this straight. There is a moment in time where Michael comes to you and says, we're going to start putting all of our treasury into Bitcoin. And it's a small 5-person board. How do you make that decision? How was he compelling enough for a public company? And he said, MicroStrategy was a dead stock. We had lots of cash in the bank. What do we do with it? Do we dividend it out? And we put it into Bitcoin, and the first time was easy, but then when they started borrowing money against future revenues, that's ballsy. And he deserves, like Elon, deserves all of the rewards from that.
Yeah. I have watched Bitcoin go from 5 cents to 50 cents to $5 to $50 to $500.
Why didn't you tell me back then?
Even because you kind of look at it and go, this is absurd. It was 5 cents a year ago, and now it's 50 cents. Do you buy? Right? Like, you don't know when it hits. And I get the similar conversation where friends of mine say, hey, Elon a bit, you must have invested in Tesla. And I'm like, no, because every quarter for 5 years, it looked like he was about to run out of money. So it's a very hard call. I finally put in a chunk at 500, but even not enough. But I think this is the tipping point. This is the singularity for fiat currencies. I think we move to this new model now, and I don't think how it goes across it. Yeah, and I think this one nails it.
Yeah, so it's, Bitcoin ETFs now hold nearly 4% of all Bitcoin, and it's institutions, and then after institutions, governments, and we're beyond.
Here's a stat that I remember: if 1% of the Fortune 100 put 1% of their treasury into Bitcoin, that gets Bitcoin to $1 million of Bitcoin.
My mom asked me yesterday, where do I put my distribution, my minimal distribution from my retirement fund? I said, put it into the Bitcoin ETF.
Bingo.
It's easy, and I think it's the safest place to go. So I do think we're going to see it continue to rip from here. There's one cartoon where this guy is asking his grandfather, he says, Grandpa, did you ever see Bitcoin below $100,000 again? Nope, never. So interesting. So where could it go? I mean, Kathy Wood's prediction was it'll be at $1 million or higher within the next 4 or 5 years. And it could get there a lot sooner. Could get to 5 million. Pretty soon we'll be thinking about Satoshis in the tens and hundreds of dollars.
I don't think there's any limit. Look, there's about 500 trillion worth of wealth in the world. And I don't see why Bitcoin can't represent more and more of that.